Hi, folks. We have done our Christmas Bible study this afternoon, and we're now going to do a Christmas lecture, and it will be on Josephus, the Jewish historian. And tonight we will do, God willing, a Christmas Bible study on Ephesians. That will be later tonight, maybe about 9 o'clock in the evening. Having said that, we're going to do a lecture on Josephus and the Testimonium Flavianum. Now, what is the Testimonium Flavianum? There is a statement in Josephus where this historian, who we're going to learn a lot about today, he mentions Jesus Christ. And I will read you and show you that statement. And we're going to go into depth about Josephus and about this statement that he makes about Jesus. So this is a famous statement by Josephus. There's a statement. So in Rome in the year 93, so not long after Jesus, like 40 years, 40, 50, 60, 70, 50 years after Jesus. In the year 93, Joseph published a lengthy history of the Jews while discussing the period in which the Jews of Judea were governed by the Roman Procurator Sir Pontius Pilate. Joseph included the following account. This is what he wrote about Jesus. At this time there lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man. For he was one who performed surprising deeds and was a teacher of such people as accepted the truth gladly. He won over many Jews and many of the Greeks. He was the Messiah. And when upon the accusation of the principal men among us, Pilate had condemned him to a cross, those who had first come to love him did not cease. He appeared to them, spending a third day restored to life. For the prophets of God had foretold these things, and 1,000 other marvels about him. And the tribe of the Christians, so called after him, has still to this day not disappeared. Jewish Antiquities, chapter 18, 3.363, based on the translation of Louis H. Feldman. So when we listen to the story of Jesus born in a manger and he fled to Egypt, and we read about Matthew writes about it, the Gospel of Luke writes about it, and then we read about Jesus' miracles in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. John is based on eyewitnesses. Matthew's based on eyewitnesses. Luke says he collects eyewitnesses. And Mark uses Peter as an eyewitness. Many people have said in history, well, yeah, that's all well and good, but maybe it was all made up. The thing is, then we come and bring Josephus. And Josephus' statement there, if he wrote round about 93 AD, his statement confirms the basic story of the Gospels. Confirms that early on, the believers of Jesus believed that he was the Messiah, that he died, and that he rose again. Now, in the history of scholarship on this statement of Josephus, and we will go into in-depth scholarship later, but round about the Enlightenment in the time of Immanuel Kant and David Hume and these philosophers, people began to say, you know what? This can't be Josephus. Josephus couldn't have written this. It's so good for the Christians. It proves the narrative. This can't be true because this is an independent historian who didn't like Christians, and he's confirming the Christian message. So this can't be Josephus. Some monk put these words in. And so this caused a massive backlash on the Testimonium, this passage about Jesus in Josephus, to the point where in modern times you could have said that 60% of scholars, maybe more, believe that the Josephus passage is not what Josephus wrote. It was a monk who put it in. Then you have maybe 20% say, no, this is all Josephus. He wrote it. And then another 20%, another 20% that say, no, Josephus did not write it at all. Then another 20% said Josephus did write it. And then the middle group, the 60% said it's half Josephus and half a monk. The bits that talk about Jesus the Messiah, he rose from the dead, that's a monk that put that in. Now, if it can be shown that that passage is genuinely Josephus, it's probably one of the most incredible historical documents that we have outside the Bible to prove that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and the apostles were speaking the truth. It's that powerful. It's that important. So what I would like to do, I'd like to tell you the life of Josephus, and then I'm going to take you in a very short journey, but into a very deep, extremely deep, well-researched scholarship that completely demolishes the 60% and the 20%. It demolishes 80% of the scholarship on Josephus. And without a shadow of a doubt, it leaves you in no doubt that Josephus wrote those passages, that passage about Jesus, and therefore confirms the Gospels. We don't have anything like this in Islam. Islam does not have anything like this in comparison. Does not have any documents in the time of Muhammad or near Muhammad outside of the Quran, outside of the Hadith, that confirms their story. Same with Hinduism or Buddhism. This is unique to Christianity, giving it a solid historical bedrock core. So come with me on a journey and I will share with you. I just want to say that if you are Josephus enthusiast, you can go and buy this book on Amazon, The Works of Josephus by William Whiston. And if you want to really dig deep into scholarship, as you can see, I've started reading these works for my Christmas reading. Without further ado, let's look at Josephus' life. Flavius Josephus was born round about 37 to 38 AD in Jerusalem and died in Rome round about 100 AD. He was a Jewish priest and scholar and a historian who wrote valuable works on the Jewish revolt of 66 to 70 AD and on early Jewish history. His major books are History of the Jewish War, 75 to 79 AD, The Antiquities of the Jews, round about 93 AD, and a famous work called Against Appian. So Josephus is a significant historical figure just after the time of Jesus. He would have known so many things about Jesus' life and culture, which we'll get into later. And he would have known much about the apostles. He was well versed in what was happening in Jerusalem and Galilee, as we shall see later. But he is significant, important to understand the historical times of Jesus because he documents that history in an amazing way. Early life. Flavius Josephus was born of an aristocratic priestly family in Jerusalem. This is significant because if he was born in an aristocratic priestly family, he was in touch with so much information because he was in contact with the right people. He was born of an priestly family in Jerusalem. According to his own account, he was a precocious youth who by the age of 14 was consulted by high priests in matters of Jewish law. He was extremely educated. At the age of 16, he undertook a 3-year sojourn in the wilderness with the hermit Banus, a member of one of the ascetic Jewish sects that flourished in Judea around the time of Christ. So Josephus spent time with these ascetics, or the Essenes, and he had a love for the Essenes. These were like people like John the Baptist who lived in the desert, and he loved them. He became a Pharisee. He probably became a Pharisee because of politics, but he always remembered that ascetic life that he lived as a young man. Returning to Jerusalem, he joined the Pharisees, a fact of crucial importance in understanding his labor collaborations with the Romans. The Pharisees, despite the unflattering portrayal of them in the New Testament, were for the most part intensely religious Jews, and they adhered to a strict, though non-literal observance of the Torah. Politically, however, the Pharisees had no sympathy with the intense Jewish nationalism of such sects as the military patriotic zealots, who were willing to submit to Roman rule if only the Jews would maintain their religious independence. In AD 64, Josephus was sent on an embassy to Rome to secure the release of a number of Jewish priests of his acquaintance who were held prisoners in the capital. For him to be sent there means he was highly respected in his time. You would not go on such a trip unless you were highly respected in Jerusalem. There he was introduced to Poppaea Sabina, Emperor Nero's second wife, whose generous favor enabled him to complete his mission successfully. During his visit, Josephus was deeply impressed with Rome's culture and sophistication, and especially its military might. Second military career. He returned to Jerusalem on the eve of a general revolt against Roman rule. In AD 66, the Jews of Judea, urged on by fanatical zealots, ousted the Roman procurator and set up a revolutionary government in Jerusalem. Along with many others of the priestly class, Josephus counseled compromise but was drawn reluctantly into the rebellion. Despite his moderate stance, he was appointed military commander of Galilee, where of his own, sometimes you have to question his account, may be believed, he was obstructed in his efforts at conciliation by the enmity of the local partisans led by John of Giscala. Though realizing the futility of armed resistance, he nevertheless set about fortifying the towns of the north against the forthcoming Roman juggernaut. The Romans, under the command of the future Emperor Vespasian, arrived in Galilee in the spring of AD 67 and quickly broke the Jewish resistance in the north. Josephus managed to hold the fortress of Jotappa for 47 days, but after the fall of the city, he took refuge with 40 diehards in a nearby cave. There, to Joseph's consternation, the beleaguered party voted to perish rather than surrender, and Josephus, arguing the immorality of suicides, proposed that each man in turn should dispatch his neighbor, the order to be determined by casting lots. Josephus contrived to draw the last lot, and as one of the two surviving men in the cave, he prevailed upon his intent victim to surrender to the Romans. Led in chains before Vespasian, Josephus assumed the role of a prophet and foretold that Vespasian would soon be emperor, a prediction that gained in credibility after the death of Nero in AD 68. The stratagem saved his life. For the next 2 years, he remained a prisoner in the Roman camp. Late in AD 69, Vespasian was proclaimed emperor by his troops, and Josephus' prophecy had come true, and the agreeable Jewish prisoner was given his freedom. From that time on, Josephus attached himself to the Roman cause. He adopted the name Flavius, Vespasian's family name, and accompanied his patron to Alexandria, and there married for the third time. Josephus' first wife had been lost at the siege of Jotappa, and his second had deserted him in Judea. Josephus later joined the Roman forces under the command of Vespasian's son and later successor Titus at the siege of Jerusalem in AD 70. He attempted to act as mediator between the Rome and the rebels, but hated by the Jews for his apostasy and distrusted by the Romans as a Jew, he was able to accomplish little. So he kind of was very astute politically. He kind of went on the side of the Romans, so the Jews didn't like him for it. Josephus is a historian. Hey, Ray, God bless you. Happy Christmas to you, brother. Josephus the historian. Josephus' first work, Bellum Judicium, History of the Jewish War, was written in 7 books between AD 75 and 79, towards the end of Vespasian's reign. The original Aramaic has been lost, but the extant Greek version was prepared under Josephus' personal direction. After briefly sketching Jewish history from the mid-2nd century BC, Josephus presents a detailed account of the Great Revolt of AD 66 and 70. He stressed the invincibility of the Roman legions. Apparently, one of his purposes in the works was to convince the diaspora Jews in Mesopotamia, who may have been contemplating revolt, that resistance to Roman arms was pure folly. The work has much narrative brilliance, particularly the description of the siege of Jerusalem. Its fluent Greek contrasts sharply with the Clumber idiom of Josephus' later works and attests the influence of his Greek assistants. In his work, Josephus is extremely hostile to the Jewish patriots and remarkably callous to their fate. The Jewish war not only is the principal source for the Jewish revolt, but is especially valuable for its description of Roman military tactics and strategy. In Rome, Josephus had been granted citizenship and a pension. He was a favorite at the courts of the Emperor Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian, and he enjoyed the income from a tax-free state in Judea. He had divorced his third wife, married an aristocratic heiress from Crete, and given Roman names to his children. He had written an official history of revolt and was loathed by the Jews as a turncoat and traitor. Yet despite of all this, Josephus had by no means abandoned his Judaism. His greatest work, The Antiquity of the Jews, completed 20 books in AD 93, traced the history of the Jews from the creation to just before the outbreak of the revolt of AD 66 and 70. It was an attempt to present Judaism to the Hellenistic world in a favorable light. By virtually ignoring the prophets, by establishing biblical narratives, and by stressing the rationality of Judaic laws and institutions, he stripped Judaism of its fanaticism and made it appealing to the cultivated and reasonable man. Historically, the coverage is patchy and shows the fatigue of the author, then in the middle 50s, but throughout sources are preserved that otherwise would have been lost, and for a Jewish history during that period of the Second Commonwealth, the work is invaluable. In the Antiquities contains the 2 famous references to Jesus Christ. The one in Book 20 calls him the so-called Christ. The implication in passage Book 18 of Christ's divinity, some scholars question, which we'll get into. Appended to the Antiquities was a life, which is less an autobiography than an apology for Josephus' conduct in Galilee during the revolt. It was written to defend himself against the charges of his enemy, Justus of Tiberias, who claimed that Josephus was responsible for the revolt. In his defense, he contradicted the account given in his more trustworthy Jewish War, presenting himself as a consistent partisan of Rome and thus a tracer to the rebellion from the start. Josephus appears in much better light in a work generally known as Contra Appium or Against Appium, though the earlier title concerning the antiquity of the Jews and against the Greeks are more opposite. Of his 2 books, the first answers various anti-Semitic charges leveled at the Jews by the Hellenistic writers, while the second provides an argument for ethical superiority of Judaism over Hellenism and shows Josephus' commitment to his religion and his culture. Legacy. As a historian, Josephus shares the faults of most ancient writers. His analysis are superficial, his chronology faulty, his facts exaggerated, his speech is contrived. He is especially tendentious in his own reputation is at stake. His Greek style, when it's truly his, does not earn for him the epithet of the Greek levy that often is attached to him. Yet he unites in his person the tradition of Judaism and Hellenism and provides a connecting link between the secular world of Rome and the religious heritage of the Bible. As far as I'm concerned, he was an outstanding historian, and his histories are invaluable resources to understand the time of the first century in Jerusalem and Rome. So now we get to the more exciting bit. I'd like to turn your attention to this. Here is a website called Josephus and Jesus. If you see at the top, you can get a free download of this book. You can also get information about the author who wrote the book. I would highly recommend it. T.C. Schmidt received his PhD from Yale University, is Associate Professor at Fairfield University, and a visiting fellow at Princeton University. His publication concerns topics such as historical Jesus, etc. He's quite an accomplished scholar, and he's written this book called Josephus and Jesus. It's a brilliant book, and you can get a copy of it free here. So you can actually get a copy. Someone has paid for you to have a free copy of this book. So you can get a PDF version of this amazing book. And we're just going to look at the scholarship just for a second on this. I put a link underneath. So here we are. I have the book here. So why is this book important? Well, come with me. Do you remember I told you about the last 250 years, the massive skepticism of scholars saying Josephus did not write this story about Jesus, that some monk put it in? Do you remember that? Well, this book has been produced to debunk that. Let me read some of the people who have written on this. Tobias Hageland, reader of New Testament Studies, University of Gothenburg, Sweden. An extraordinary scholarly achievement. This book has the potential of redefining the discussion of the Testimonium Flavianum and its value as a source of historical information. That's just a little bit there. Anton Yoshiko Reed, Kirster, Professor of Divinity at Harvard Divinity School. He writes, Schmidt's book makes an astonishingly new intervention into what seems to be a settled consensus on Josephus and Jesus. So this guy has shaken up the scholarly world in this topic. Harold Attridge, Dean of Yale University. Professor Schmidt offers a thorough, sophisticated analysis of the Testimonium Flavianum. Jack Tanos, Associate Professor of History, Princeton University. It is fascinating and subtly provocative work. Schmidt patiently deploys an enormous erudition to make a compelling case for the authenticity of the Testimonium. Peter Williams of Cambridge, Tyndale House. The argument of this book is potentially greater significance for the study of the historical Jesus than the announcement of any of the apocryphal Gospels that have made headlines. Okay? So it shows you how this book is like a nuclear bomb that's gone off in the scholarly world concerning Josephus studies. So what is the thesis of the book? Believe it or not, I read the book, most of the book, on Christmas Eve. I read about 250 pages. I didn't read the appendix, but I read about 250 pages yesterday. So I can tell you pretty much what the book is about. Excuse me. So if you look here, it talks about the Greek reception. So the Greek reception, it looks at ancient manuscripts of Josephus that are in Greek or that has been referenced by Greek scholars of ancient times. And he notices that most of these references, they don't ever question that a monk ever put it in. They accept it as completely Josephus. There might have been a few textual variants that he notices, but that's the general impression. The same when he looks at Western and Eastern reception. Ancient Western and Eastern scholars from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th century AD. He notices none of them say it's not Josephus. They all accept it's Josephus. Some put a little bit of textual variance in, but generally it's accepted. There's no issue there. He looks at commentaries on the Testimonium, like in the Syriac and in the Latin. And he finds that nobody's saying that a monk put it in. So going right back, looking at a variety of quotations of Josephus in many other books and translations of Josephus, he sees a pattern where the vast majority do not think that this is a forgery. They accept it. So his conclusion is, looking at the textual evidence, that this is clearly Josephus. He notes that there was a textual variant where it says, they thought he was the Messiah. When you put that textual variant in, it's quite obviously 100% pure Josephus. And so what Josephus was saying is, here is this man, he's more than a man, and he's highly respected, and people believe that he died. He was crucified under Pontius Pilate, historical fact, and they believed he rose again, confirming the Gospel of Luke, confirming the other Gospels. A remarkable piece of historical evidence to confirm our Bible. But then it gets better. Not only is this pure Josephus, here's the question. Here is the question. Where did Josephus get his evidence from? Where did he get his material from? And this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. It gets amazing, because what he finds out is in chapter 6, the first among men. He mentions first among men, Josephus. All right, let me show you something in this book. See if we can get. Let me just see. It's a season to be jolly. Let me just see. 141. Okay. So here, for your thing, scholarly perusal, he's massive on philology, studying of words. And so he proves his thesis by looking at the words Josephus used and tracking them in all his works. He does this massive philological study which cannot be destroyed easy by scholars, because he provides a massive, absolutely scholarly framework there. All right, so there you go. Where did Josephus get his sources from? If he's saying Jesus was seen to be the Messiah and he did miracles and all this, where did he get his sources from? You're going to be amazed by this. The sources of Josephus. Wow. In his youth and his adulthood, he was brought up with high priests. He was brought up with many people who were involved in killing Jesus. So even as a youth, he was as a boy, he was brought up with people who killed Jesus. So he knew what was going on. So when he wrote about Jesus, he knew what he was talking about. If you see Galilee there, he was also a general in Galilee. He had 100,000 troops in Galilee. He would know all the areas where Jesus had been. He would meet people who knew Jesus, because he went to all the villages and towns in Galilee where Jesus had been. So not only was he brought up with people who knew Jesus, who killed Jesus, he also was a general with 100,000 troops in Galilee. So he would have known people in Galilee who knew Jesus. It gets quite astounding where he's got his information from. Let me show you now. There's a chart here. There's a chart. I want to show you the chart. So here is a chart there. Herod the Great. Look at, you got Beatrice, Agrippa, down below there at the bottom. Salome. He knew people who had John the Baptist killed. He knew people who knew John the Baptist. Okay? He knew people from the Herod family line who were involved in the killing of John the Baptist. So he would certainly know a lot about Jesus. So you've not only got he was brought up with people who knew Jesus and killed Jesus. You've not only got that he was a general in Galilee where he would know people who knew Jesus. He also knew people in the Herodian family who knew Jesus and who knew John the Baptist. So when Josephus is writing about Jesus, he knows what he's doing. Agrippa II and Bernice, important people in the story. Agrippa I and Cyprus. These are connection to people who would have information about Jesus. Herod Antipas and Herodias. These are connections that he had. Salome and Astobos of Chaldea. These people had connections in some way with John the Baptist and the death of Jesus, and Josephus had connection with these people. Rabbinic families that were involved in the killing of Jesus, the rabbinic family of Hillel. He had contact with them. He knew them. the Gamaliel family, he had contact with them. These were involved in the killing of Jesus. So you have the family of Hillel here, see there? So he was in contact with Simon II. The high priestly families of the first century, the family of Boethius, these families were involved in the killing of Jesus, and Josephus was connected to them. The family of Phoebe, Josephus was connected to them. The family of Camith, Josephus was connected to them. The family of Annas, Josephus was connected to them. All these families were involved in the killing of Jesus at the Sanhedrin. He was in contact with them all. So when Josephus is writing, about Jesus, he has all these sources of people who were eyewitnesses and who knew Jesus and who were involved in his death, and officials who would have had records on Jesus. He knew all these contacts, the Herodian family, Agrippa, Felix, Gamaliel. He knew all these families and connected to them. So he had all this historical information. So when he writes about Jesus, we've got solid history there. So our Bible says Jesus died and rose again and did miracles. And Josephus is saying that this is what the disciples believed. But he's saying that he definitely died under Pontius Pilate. And he's saying that they believed in the resurrection and they believed in miracles. And he's confirming that Jesus did miracles. Confirming the Bible. Incredible new scholarship, incredible new evidence, absolutely amazing, phenomenal scholarship. Your faith is not rooted in conspiracy. It's not rooted in myth. It's rooted in solid history. You've not only got your Bible, you've not only got a Bible that tells you Jesus rose again based on eyewitnesses, you've got Josephus confirming the Bible, an independent historical source confirming about the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, rooted in absolute phenomenal scholarship. And that's the end of my lecture, folks. If anybody wants to come on, I'm going to do a Bible study later on. But if anyone wants to come on, you can come on and say hello. There's the link, if anybody wants to come on. So there we are. Amazing, absolute amazing stuff there. May God bless you all. May you have a lovely Christmas afternoon or evening as it's coming. And thank you for stopping by. We'll do a Bible study later tonight on the book of Ephesians. We did a little Bible study today on Philippians. We'll do a Bible study tonight on Ephesians. If you're like me, I'm not into just talking all day in terms of sitting in a room watching TV. It's not my kind of forte. So let's give we'll just so.
Welcome to the O2 messaging service.
I couldn't get it. We'll see you.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Can't get.
This is the Vodafone voicemail.
Everybody's busy. I'm trying to phone people, wish them happy Christmas. See how I get my dad. Hey, Dad.
Hey, yeah, all right.
Are you okay, lad?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Where are you? At Tracy's or Jimmy's?
No, I'm home. I'm going Guineas after.
Going Jimmy's after. I phoned him today just to see if you were all right. He said you got somewhere to go. I've been trying to phone you for a couple of days if you wanted to come here, but he told me you're going to him anyway.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right, yeah.
Oh, good. I've just been here with Naomi and two elderly ladies, Norma and Jan. Yeah, we had a curry.
Right. Good.
Yeah, different from chicken.
Yeah, that's right.
You're live on YouTube, you know.
What?
You're live on YouTube.
What do you mean?
I've just done a Bible study and I've just phoned you, but people can hear you.
Oh, right. That's all right.
So you're okay? Is the car okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I'm coming to Tracy's. I think Saturday, so I'll probably see you Saturday. I've got some people, some elderly ladies coming down tomorrow. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have a good day then, Dad, with Jimmy.
With Naomi and all, yeah.
Yeah, she had a present for you, but I'll give it you later.
Yeah, you're all right. God bless you all.
All right. Well, you're always welcome. Come here. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm all right, yeah.
All right. I'll see you soon then, Dad. Love you.
Right, well,
all right.
thanks.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
God bless you.
Bye. My daddy's going to my brother's later. My brother's got Tilly, his granddaughter, so he'll be there. So that's yeah. Anyhow, we will do a Bible study later tonight about 9 o'clock. I think. Let me just check with Ray. I think Ray might have. Ray might be. So yeah, that's a little bit of scholarship for you on Josephus. I spent Christmas Eve reading 250 pages of Josephus, and like Josephus scholarship yesterday. That's what I did on Christmas Eve, 250 pages of it. And this is my Christmas holiday reading, courtesy of Gareth. I am enjoying this book. I'm really enjoying it. It's a good quality book, by the way. Hey, Unique. God bless you, bro. It's okay. We've got a Bible study later tonight, about 9 o'clock. I did a Bible study early, if you want to go and watch that, on Philippians. And I'll do a study tonight about 8 o'clock. No, 9 o'clock. I wonder if, I'll just check if Ray's doing his thing tonight. Do 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 do. Ray. Do 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 do. Let's check. Hi, Pastor Hank. Sorry I couldn't get back to you, but just want to thank you for that message you sent me. You're too kind, bro. You're too kind. God bless you, brother. I hope you're having a good Christmas. Love to you and your family. God bless you, bro. Yeah, there is a claim that Josephus used Luke. However, when you study philology in the scholarly book that I referenced early on, if you go back to this book, I'll show you. He demolishes that argument. He refutes it in a very powerful way. So if you go back here, go back. To show you. So some scholars say, well, Josephus used Luke. But I'll just show you something. Show you. Yeah, so you see here. See this here. This is a philological chart. And if you look at number 1 at the top, the phrases in the TF, that's the bit about Jesus. And look at the Greek there. These are the phrases of Josephus there on number 1 about Jesus, right? And then if you look at number 2, it shows you how many times it's mentioned. The words that he mentions about Jesus are mentioned in his overall works, right? And then number 3, he documents how those phrases are Josephan. So philologically, it has these massive charts that proves that without a shadow of a doubt that the words that Josephus used are Josephan words. He has not copied from Luke. Hello? Hello? I thought someone knocked on it. Hey, Lewis, Jessica. God bless you guys. God bless you. The Bible studies before, I did a Bible study early on. This is like scholarship apologetics. But Jessica, Lewis, God bless you. Praying for you guys. There'll be a Bible study tonight at 9 o'clock on Ephesians. There was a Bible study a few hours ago I did on Merry Christmas to you, Lewis, and to Jessica. God bless you both. So that's destroyed there. So Lewis, Jessica, all things work together for good to them that love God. Everything's going to be okay. God is with you both. So there's a Bible study tonight. So what have you all had today? I had a curry today. We had curry for Christmas with some naan bread. I have a song, folks. Do you want to hear the song? E pattiane, patti pattiane, e pattiane, patti pattiane. Don't know what it means. I've just invented it. I invented it years ago. I used to get the African kids to sing it. Sing with me, kids. E pattiane, patti pattiane. Don't know what it means. I made it up. Just a bit of fun. Can hear someone out. There's like old ladies outside. Can you hear them? I'll show you a present. I wasn't able to give any presents this year because of Amazon. So I'm sorry, folks. If nobody got a present or a card, I'm sorry. But I just got one present this Christmas. I'll show you my present. Are you ready? I'll show you my present. It's from an elderly lady called Jan. Are you ready? The only present I got this Christmas, but I'll show you my present. Are you ready? Are you ready? Do 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 do. Sock 1. Do 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 do. Sock 2. Do 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 do. Sock 3. Do 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 do. Sock 4. Boop. Do 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 do. Sock 5. Boop boop boop. Do 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 do. Sock 6. Do 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 do. Sock. Sock 7. Do 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 do. Sock do 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 do. Sock 8. Do 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 do. Sock 9. Do do. And I've got a pair of them on, so 10 pairs of socks, guys and girls. I am the well stocked for next year on socks. I'm going to give this bag to Dorcas. I think she'll like the bag. Do 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 do. Well, see, as it's Christmas, I know, proper style, proper got socks on. Seeing it's Christmas, I'll tell you a few jokes, right? Are you ready? There were these ants playing football against the termites. And what's it called? I'm trying to think of it. What's it called? All right, yeah. So these ants and these termites are playing football. And the ants said to the centipede, hurry up and come. We need you to play for us, to the centipede, right? Anyhow, the centipede was taking ages. So anyhow, the ants are losing to the termites. The termites, it's like 6-0. The ants have got nothing, and the termites are winning. Anyhow, half time, the centipede comes on, and they're able to score some goals, but they lost 6-5. So the ants at the end of the match said to the centipede, "Why didn't you come on earlier? Why didn't you come on earlier? We'd have won." And the centipede said, "I was putting my boots on. I was putting my boots on." Do you get it? Do you get the joke? I put my boots on. He's got loads of feet, hasn't he? He's got loads of feet. Has anybody got the joke there? Right, the next one. Right, here's the next one. There was a guy who was working for the Queen. He was working for the Queen as a cook. Right? He was working for the Queen as a cook. Anyway, one day he got drunk. The Queen sacked him. You're not working for me anymore. You're not working for me anymore, right? So anyhow, he moves to Brighton and he's looking for a job as a chef. He wants to work as a chef. He worked for the Queen. He wants to work in the best hotel. He goes to this posh hotel. He goes in. He says, I used to work for the Queen. I'm a brilliant chef. So the manager says, okay, come with me to the kitchen. Show me what you can do. So he's in the kitchen with the manager. He says to the manager, throw me an egg. So the manager throws him an egg. He grabs it, the egg, rolls down his hand, rolls up his shoulders. He flicks it up. The egg rolls up in the air, rolls down back of his head, rolls down back of his back onto his leg. He flips it up. It flies up in the air, the egg, lands in the frying pan, breaks perfectly, fries. The manager just said, whoa, I've never seen anything like that. That is amazing. What else can you do? So the guy says, right, throw me 2 eggs. So he throws 2 eggs. So 2 eggs like that. One rolls up here, one rolls up here, up the chef. He flicks it up there, he flicks it up there. The 2 eggs fly up in the air. They come flying down. They roll down back of his head. They roll down back of his leg, back of his back. He flicks one up the on the one leg, flips the other on the eye. They both eggs go flying up into the air, lying in a frying pan, crack open, perfectly, beautifully cooked. Absolutely amazing. So the chef said, what do you think? The manager said, whoa, I've never seen anything like it. Absolutely amazing. So the chef said, do I get the job? And the manager says, no, you mess about too much. You mess about too much. Go on, get lost. Oh, it's a good one, that, isn't it? It's a good one. It's a cracker, that one. It's a cracker. Right, next one. Next joke. It's a good one. Right, next one. There was this frog, right? He was a bit of a bully. And he goes like this. He goes into the jungle. He goes like this. He goes up to the owl. There's an owl in the forest. And he goes, I'm a great big frog, and I'm the boss of this jungle. Harr. So the owl flew off, said, okay, flies off. So he goes up to a giraffe. He goes, I'm a great big frog, and I'm the boss of this jungle. Ha! So the giraffe looks at him and goes, oh, okay, and goes off, right? Boom, boom, boom. There's this little mouse. And the frog goes up to the little mouse and goes, I'm a great big frog, and I'm the boss of this jungle. So the mouse looks up and goes, oh, okay, sir. And he runs off, leaves it. So this frog's going all over the place saying, I'm a great big frog, and I'm the boss of the jungle. Goes up to a monkey, a little monkey. He says, I'm the great big frog, and I'm the boss of the jungle. So a lion comes up to him and says, I'm looking for a great big frog who thinks he's the boss of the jungle. Have you seen him? And the frog went, do you get it? Do you get the joke? He's got a big mouth, and then when he sees the lion, he goes. All right, maybe you didn't get that one. That's it, folks. I know a few other jokes, but there's Englishmen, Irishmen, Scotchmen, and they were in the desert. Now, we don't believe in genies, but it's just a bit of a fun, yeah. This genie appears and says to the Englishman, Irishman, Scotsman, right, I am genie, and I will give you whatever you need in desert. I'll give you one wish. So the Englishman says, I'd like food supplies, crates of tins of beans and fruit and things. So, boom, appears, right? Loads of boxes of tins of fruit and tins of beans, and the Englishman's got all the food he needs. And the Scotsman says, I'd like 50 crates of whiskey. Genie appears, gives him 50 crates of whiskey. He says, now, what do you want, Irishman? Well, let me see now. Let me think about that now. I'll have a car door, yes. I'll have a car door. That'll do me. So the genie gave him a car door. Boom, car door. So about 2 hours later, the Englishman's eating his stuff and the Irishman's drinking his whiskey, and they're both looking at the Irish. The Scotsman's drinking his whiskey. They're looking at the Irishman in bemusement, like, what did he want a car door for? So I see you, Jimmy. What do you want the car door for? Eh? And the Irishman said, well, when it's cold, I wind the window up. And when it's hot, I wind the window down. You like that one? When it's cold, I wind the window down. And when it's hot, I wind the window. When it's hot, I wind the window up. No, when it's hot, I wind the window down. And when it's cold, I wind the window up. Oliver Cromwell had 10,000 men, and he marched them up to the top of the hill. And he's looking down, and he can see thousands of his men right down to the villages. And he gets to the top of the hill, and he says, halt! Halt! So all his men stop. But right at the back of his men, about a mile away, this little chubby chap starts pushing his way through his men. Takes about 30 minutes to get past all the men. This little chubby guy, he climbs up the hill to Oliver Cromwell, and he goes, sir! And Oliver Cromwell said, what do you want? He said, I thought you said Walter. Oliver Cromwell said, halt. The guy at the back thought he said Walter. Or Walt. Anyhow. All right. I'm going to go, and there's guests downstairs. I've got to just see if they're okay. I'm not into talking a lot downstairs, you know. You've heard this. You probably heard this one. It's not as funny, but it's like, this chap gets a job on a building site, young lad. Manager says, right, see over him. His name's Donkey. Go over to Donkey. Ask him what he wants you to do. So he goes over. He says, Mr. Donkey, boss says, I got to see you. So Mr. Donkey said, do this, do that. So all day he's working with Mr. Donkey, and Mr. Donkey says, right, get the bricks there, gets the bricks there, and doing the cement and all that. And at the end of the day, the young lad was a bit curious. Wonder why they call him Donkey. So he said, sir, Mr. Donkey, I'm sorry about this, but the boss there, why did they call you Donkey? And Mr. Donkey said, he always calls me that. It's not too funny, but it's a good one. All right, folks. I'm going to go. Take care, guys, and love you all. And I'll be late tonight, about 9 o'clock, doing Bible study on Ephesians. You can look at the Bible study before on Philippians. I did that earlier today. I'll do a Bible study tonight. God willing, hopefully. I have to be a bit quiet, but God bless you. Take care. See you, Lewis. See you, Unique. See you. Anybody else who's come on? Jessica, Raymond, anybody else? All of you, God bless you and take care. God bless.